It's not gonna stay. That's ghetto. Oh, that's ghetto. Why are you not trying to stay for me? Let's see if it works. Boom, bam, bam, boom, bam, bam, bada, boom, bam. Tell me I ain't no way maker when it comes to God. Look, God be making the way for me. He make way for you. Make way for everybody, huh? At this point, so I have to pick a different place to teach at because I'm not done yet. God still he still got some messages that's coming through me. So we talked about the mind being the prison, and the battlefield, and it's spiritual and not physical. And we talked about how all of that creates no unity in the homes and in the streets. And we talked about we could choose to either allow life to push us around, and we can allow for to be remain in those prisons, or we can allow for God to come in and snatch down those walls and release us of those prisons, and give us the deliverance and teach us the ways, because some of us may not know. We went through all of that, and then we got to the fact of if we already have mindsets like that as regular people, and we have things like that going on in our regular lives. Imagine the hands that we're in the life that we're living now, and in the land that we're living now. We start to believe, and we start to perceive things differently. Because once you're awoke, you cannot go back to sleep again. Once you know, you cannot unknow. So I always say we are the lost and found here in America. We are the lost and found, and though we are being passed down in a judgment, though we're suffering a certain type of judgment, it's not like we didn't get warned about it. It's not like we didn't know. It's okay, because if we know for a fact that he comes to us, and he gives us discernment for these things, then we know it's best to lean on his understanding, not our own. If we know for a fact that because he created us in his image and to be greater than what we are living, if we know that for a fact, then we know that these victim mindsets are not good. These victim mindsets are not what's going to get us there. We know that we know that there are some who may be more hurt than others. You know that there are some who may feel more trapped than others. But we all know that was just a plant. That was just a plant planted in you way younger, when you were younger, to basically stop you from growing and achieving what God wanted you to grow and achieve. You never know. You may have been born a prophet. You may have been born a writer. You may have been born, a multi-millionaire. You may have been born a person that's like an entrepreneur, so you're multi-talented and you can do more things. Whatever you were born to do, you were put here to serve. And you have to be, before being a leader, you have to be a servant. You have to learn to serve. A lot of us want to go and we want these big, these big roles in life, and we want all this recognition and acknowledgement, but it costs to be the boss, and this is what it is. It costs to be that boss. You ever had your elder tell you, go make your own food, make your own table, because it feels better sitting there and it tastes better when you eating it? Well, we don't understand what that cost is. We don't understand that cost comes through the mind and through the mental and through the spiritual. We don't understand that we were once lost, but we are now found. We don't understand those things, And so before I ended off, I was talking about basically Babylon and the king of Babylon and the dreams that the king of Babylon had received, and what the dreams meant. That's what I was talking about before I got off of here. And so in the Bible, we're gonna be in the book of Daniel, and we're gonna be in the book of Ezekiel. So I'm gonna read from the book of Ezekiel, and I'm gonna read from chapters 48, and I'm gonna read from verses 18 all the way down to 27, because I got this board right here, and I want to show y'all something right quick before I continue on with my PowerPoints. I have this board. So in those days, before Daniel received what he received, before Daniel, was the person to go and interpret the dreams to King Nebuchadnezzar, we had this, right? So This is a reminder of the length alongside the holy proportion shall be 10,000 to 10. See, I don't want to say the numbers wrong. So it basically this lets you know what is in the Holy Land and what's not in the Holy Land. What is of the holiness and what is not of the holiness. So this is the remainder of the length of the remainder of the length alongside the holy portion shall be 100,000 cubits to the east and 100,000 cubits to the west, and it shall be alongside the holy portion. It produces its produce shall be food for the workers of the city, and the workers of the city from the tribes of Israel shall tilt it. The whole portion that you shall set apart shall be 25,000 cubits squares. That is the holy portion, together with the property of the city. What remains on both sides of the holy portion of the property of the city shall belong to the prince, extended from the 25,000 cubits of the holy portions of the east, the 2,500,000 cubits of the holy portion of the east border, and the westward from the 2,500,000 cubits to the west border, parallel to the tribal portion, it shall belong to the prince. The holy portion with the sanctuary of the temple shall be in its midst. It shall be separated from the properties of the Levites and the properties of the city, which are in the midst of that which belongs to the prince. The portions of the prince shall lie between the territory of Judah, the territory of Benjamin, and the territory of Benjamin. As for those are two different. Understand, it's the territory of Judah and the territory of Benjamin. As for the rest of the tribes from the east to the west, Benjamin one proportion, and joined in the territory of Benjamin from the east side to the west, Simon in one portion. So Benjamin had one portion and Simon had the other portion. Basically, it's two nations. Understand, there's always going to be two nations at war. Two nations at war under the sun. Because only one nation will prevail, but the other nation will fall, for surely. One nation will prevail, but the other nation will fall. And so, Simon one portion. And joining the territory of Simon from the east, Simeon from the east side to the west, Izarite. I'm about to see how you pronounce this word, because I don't want to. Izarite, period. I'm finna see how you pronounce this word right quick. I'm about to show y'all this board though. Right after I break it down in the Bible, I'm going to show y'all this board. I got this from my church. Pronunciation. There we go. They don't want to give me no videos. Y'all don't want to tell me in the video how you pronounce it? Come on. Tell me in the video. Y'all annoying. This crazy. Let me tell you something. It's going to always be a battle too. Don't ever expect for something to be easy. It's not ever going to be easy. When you got a mission and you are the purpose, you're going to go through a process. That process is going to have a battle. When you come to make a decision, when you come to do something, when you come to, going into that word, you got to understand that it's going to be a war zone. You got to understand that there's going to be dilemma, but it's about how you react and perceive that. Are you going to be positive or negative? A situation does not make you, nor does it define who you are, but you can define who you are through that situation by showing, negatively or positively, by reacting negatively or positively. For you are blessed by the fruits of your spirit, for what you think in your heart as you are in real life. So if you think that you're a bad person, then in your heart, that's what you will be, and that's what you will perceive. If you think in your heart that you're a good person, then in your heart, that's what you will perceive, and that's what you will see. For what you think in your heart, you are. They're being funny, trying to make me watch ads while I'm trying to figure out the name.
Is brought to you by pronouncenames.com.
Issachar. Okay, so Issachar, and that's crazy because I literally wouldn't have known that. Issachar is one portion. So one portion is for Simeon, and on the other portion is Issachar. Okay, at first you wouldn't play. Now you just won't be quiet. So that's what that means, okay? That's what his name means. That's what his name pronounces, Issachar. So for one portion is Issachar's and the other portion is Simeon's, okay? So there we go with that. Verse 26 in Ezekiel, the Bible, you know, that's what we're in Ezekiel. Chapter 48. So we're going to verse 26. And enjoining the territory of Issachar from the east side to the west side, Zebulun, one portion. In adjoining the territory of Zebulun. So let me turn to y'all. Now let me show y'all this board. Now I just read to y'all, and I'm going to have to keep going back and forth, but let me show y'all just right quick. I just read to y'all. Basically, the remainder of the length alongside the holy portion should be 100,000 cubits, right? To the east, and 100,000 cubits to the west. Now look at this right quick. Hold on. I can't do it like this. Now look at this right quick. This is the measurements of the church. What I just read out of the Bible right here is the measurements of the church. The remainder of the lengths alongside the holy proportion shall be. So look, this what we got right here, right? This what we got right here. Anything counted on the outside of this earth. Because before I show y'all that, I got to show y'all this. Now this is what is said to be the new Jerusalem coming down. Third Jerusalem. For the third time. Which means if the new Jerusalem is going to come down, so is the new Babylon. These are 12 headstones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it goes all the way around. You get 12 headstones. These are the colors from the rainbow, signifying that God's promise from with Noah in the flood. He promised that he would not end the world or flood the world again in that way. He wouldn't do it. So he gave us the promise. This throne. This is supposed to be his throne. Okay? This is God sitting at the top of the throne. And it's like his glory shines down, passing on judgment to the 12 tribes. And remember, it's 12 tribes of Israel, but we're not going to get on that yet. We're not about to get on that yet. We got 12 tribes, 10 come from Israel. We're not about to get on that yet, though. So we got the 12 headstones right here. We got the glorified seat, for it shines down judgment. This is the promise. This is the rainbow. But you do not count what's on the outside of this. Don't count what's on the outside. Only count what's on the inside. Do you see what that looks like? It has the box. It has the glorification. It has the signification. Okay, so we're going to go back over here. So we got the measurements, the actual measurements of the church. So we got the throne of God. You know, we got the water, we got the tree of life, you know, we got the spiritual light over here, we got salvation right here, we got the 12 foundations of the earth, the names of the apostles, and we got the precious stones. Now, if y'all was wondering what that is, I just showed y'all over here, foundations of the earth, and the mouth, in the precious stones, and we got the 12 apostles, which are the 12 disciples. 12 disciples, foundation of the earth. All right, so we got to understand that. All right, names of the 12 foundations, and we got the names of the 12 apostles. All right, so right here, we don't count these things on the outside. For the things on the outside, as it said in the Bible, the things on the outside is not. Okay, look, I gotta reread it so that I'm not saying the wrong thing. The length alongside the holy portion shall be 100,000 cubits to the east, and to 10,000 cubits to the west, and it should be alongside the holy portion. Its produce shall be food for the workers of the city, and the workers of the city from all tribes of Israel. That's 12. That's the 12. Look, those are the tribes that is mentioned right here. That's what's right here. So when it says 100,000 cubits of the east, 100,000 cubits of the west. You know, and then it says it shall be alongside the holy portions. And it says, look, when it mentioned Israel, this is what it's talking about. This is what it's talking about. This is what it's talking about. And this is what it's talking about right here. Please take a screenshot, do whatever, all right? Because this is what it's talking about. And this is the measurements of the church. For whatever measured inside of the church, whatever measured on the inside of the church is what would be of God, what is appointed of God. Anything on the outside is for the men, is of the world, and is of these worldly things, okay? For the Lord is not in the world. This world is dying. So he's going to come, and it says that he's coming, and he's going to gather up his people, you know, and he's going to take what is of the weeds and the tares. He's going to bind them up together. He's going to toss them out, and they're going to burn, and they're going to in the fire, and they're going to weep and gnash their teeth. And he's going to take the wheats, and he's going to gather them up in the barn. Okay, the sower is, you know, and then we have 2 leaders out here nowadays. So that's what we get with this lost and found, the judgment, and then the final hour. And then we get to those dreams of the king. Because this is where it is at. Here in America, America is not a place of unity. It's not a place like, you know, you should feel home. We also keep the wrong Sabbath day. We say we keep Sabbath, but Sabbath day for us is Sunday. That's not true. Sabbath day is actually Saturday. You know, we want to say things like as if it's God, but it's not really God, basically. This world, America, is not built around God. It's not built around God. That's the best way I could say it. It's not built around him. The money, you know, that's the whole point of why I said that about the money. When you go and you get your money and you look at your money, it does not have God nowhere but in God we trust. It has liberty and all that all over the place. Liberty, right? Liberty, right? The Statue of Liberty, I'm about to show y'all something right quick. The Statue of Liberty, it stands up tall, right? And she holds a light in her hand, right? And she has 7 horns on her head, right? But in the dream of Daniel was a beast, right? And a woman appeared on the beast, right? And she held a light in her hand, right? And she had a wicked face, right? And what does she look like? I'm about to turn my camera around because y'all need to see what I'm looking up. So, this is what we're finna do right here. This is exactly what we're finna do right here. So look at this woman. Look at this woman right here. Look at this woman. This is the beast, right? We're going to count their heads together. One head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's the woman sitting right there. That's the whore of Babylon. This is the beast that came to the dream of the king of Nebuchadnezzar, of the king of Babylon. He's the king of Babylon. The city that fell. The great city that fell, right? That's the woman that came up there that Daniel interpreted, right? Now, let me show y'all something right quick. Because we not knowing. We not understanding. None. Hold up, y'all. Because I be doing a bunch of research. Come on. Stop being funny. All right, look. Look. Y'all cannot tell me y'all don't see what I'm seeing. Look. She has... When you look at the Statue of Liberty, it's 7. 7. Like the 7 heads. When you look at the Statue of Liberty, she's holding a light. Satan, Lucifer, was known as the light bearer. She's holding the light of, just like the whore of the great city that fell. She's holding the light, right? 25 to 24 windows around her head. 25 to 24 elders that sit on the throne. Right before the Lamb that opens the seal, right? For only the Lamb can open the seal. That's the same Lamb that comes, which is Jesus, that comes, opens the seal right before the angel goes out and gives the first message out onto the... Come on, y'all gotta stick with me here. Y'all gotta stay with me here. So, and then it's not a shocker that on our money it says liberty. And he says, give on to Caesar what is his, right? That's crazy. It's not a shocker that Donald Trump built that statue in Vegas. If I told you that he built the statue of gold in Vegas, but in the dream that Daniel interpreted to King Nebuchadnezzar, the head of the statue is gold. And it's because he's the king of Babylon. All right? I'm going to just guide y'all through it a little bit more. So on that head, where you know, on that head where the horns were, was another horn with a face on there, which plucked 3 horns, right? But those 3 horns, I would like to say, it stands for the 3 gates, right? The 3 gates of the tribes of the tribes of Israel. Because remember, okay, so look, because I feel like let me slow down right quick, because I feel like I'm being told slow down and explain it a little bit better. Slow down and explain it a little bit better. That's why I feel like I'm being told. Let me go to the beast. Okay, so look. The first beast that they saw was like a lion with eagle wings. Wings plucked later, lifted up from earth, man's heart given. So, when they first interpreted the dream, he said it was like a lion with eagle's wings. Right? But it stood up on 2 legs like a man and had a man's heart. So, it was no longer a beast, but turned into men. Right? Oh, and I should never did that. I got this mucus, and that's not okay. So, he turned into a man. Got a man's heart, right? The second beast. It's like a bear. So but let me tell y'all something. Because not only do they do it, it lets you know, it describes the beast, but it lets you know where on the body is the beast. Where on the statue do the beast do it signify the beast, right? So remember, the head was gold, and it stood for Babylon, right? And King Nebuchadnezzar, it stood for Babylon. So the lion with the eagle wings was where the head was, the beast of Babylon, was the head for Babylon, all right? Because it was a beast, but it stood up on the 2 feet and like a man, excuse me, and it had a heart of a man. So it did things like a man, right? But the bear, the second beast, was like a bear, raised up on its side, had 3 ribs in its mouth, was told to arise and devour much flesh. Now remember, the beast that had those heads in the horns had a mouth on one of the heads like a human being and spoke things greatly out of that mouth. But with that one horn, it plucked 3 other horns, right? Okay. With that horn, it plucked 3 other horns, right? Okay, so keep following me. And that's the silver. That's the silver of it. So it goes from being gold. So that's one time period. That's one time period, right? And then it goes from being gold. So I hope y'all follow me. It goes from being gold to silver, like a bear. And it raised up on its side, had 3 ribs in its mouth. Remember, the horn plucks 3 other horns, right? Okay. Oh, this is getting good. Was told to arise and devour much flesh. So it's gathering up people. It's gathering up people. So look at those preachers who really just be preaching more about money and, about being rich and about, stuff like that. Instead of really preaching the God's word, this is literally what it means. They're gathering people up because it was told to arise and devour much flesh. Beast number 3, like a leopard with 4 foul wings and had 4 heads, given dominion. So, all right. So it went from being like a beast, walking and talking like a beast, to standing on 2 legs and having a man's heart. So it started doing man things, blessed with science and blessed with blessed with these things, blessed to do these things too. Whoa, like a bear, raised up on his side and had 3 ribs. So I'm guessing that this beast was that 4 horn with the mouth that's speaking, right? And like a bear, raised up on this side, had 3 ribs in his mouth. So it plucks the other 3, right? Okay. And was told to rise and devour much. Like the leopard with 4 foul wings. The wings are signify power. Okay. It signifies a certain type of power and authority, and so does the leopard. It signifies some type of power and authority. So with 4 foul wings and 4 heads given. But not to mention, remember though, from the first beast, the wings plucked later, right? Oh my Lord Jesus. Wings plucked later, right? But it mentioned on the third beast how it had 3 ribs in its mouth. But it also mentions how All right, let me tell you. So we on that third beast, right? And so it got 4 or 5 wings, 4 heads, and given dominion. Exceedingly dreadful, terrible beast. It's the 4th beast. Iron teeth, brass knuckles, and had 10 horns, and 10 little. It had 10 horns, and a little horn which plucked 3 horns. So it had 10 horns, like the 10 tribes, you know what I mean? And then the 10 tribes of Israel, you know what I mean? And then it had the 1 horn that plucked the 3 horns. The 3 horns, there's 3 tribes that are extinct. Though there are 10 tribes, of the 12 tribes, it's only 10 that we really be, you know, it's only 10 that we really do research over. And then we have the 3 that's not mentioned, that's extinct, right? Remember, there was a lion with eagle wings, which were plucked later, right? The beast was on its side and had 3 ribs in its mouth, right? And then it was a leopard. It was a one-necked leopard with 4 foul wings, and it was given domination. But this exceedingly dreadful, terrible beast, you know, had iron teeth, just like the statue. When it got down to the legs and when it got down to Rome, because one thing we don't understand before I continue on, and I explain why I keep talking about the horns and the three plucks, and then the plucks of the wings and the horns and the teeth, and how it has the 3 ribs in its mouth, and why I'm keep talking about that. I gotta go to the statue, and I need to break this down a little bit more for y'all. I really do. So within this statue, hold up right quick, y'all. Within this statue, this is what we're about to do right now. So let me get a little bit comfortable at this point, because I gotta read. So within this statue, like I said, the first head is Babylon. No, because it's not. Why is it doing this? Devil, I rebuke you, for you are a lie, manipulator, and a deceiver. You only come to kill, steal, and destroy. Get behind me. You do not own me. I am a child of God. Go back to the blood. Go back to the gates of hell where you came from. Do not try to trample my speaking. Do not try to trample over my energy. Do not try to trample over me, for you do not have power over me. Only God has power over me. I really rebuke you. Get behind me and depart from me. Period. I declare that in the name of Jesus. And that's how you handle battles. But you have to say it and really believe it in your heart. And when you confess it with your soul, you know, and with your mouth, that's what you do. So, you know, the great images of Nebuchadnezzar's dream, you know. And then it still want to show small. It still wants to show small for whatever reason. It wasn't showing small when I was doing my research. It wasn't at all. I could tell you guys that much. And it's like, I know the things I look at, I already know, but I don't want to be saying it off of my own. Like I want to be able to. It doesn't make any sense though, because it's so small. Like, why are you being small? Okay. And then it's the way I have to, this is literally like parts of a message. Okay, so, like I originally said, Babylonia is Nebuchadnezzar, and, you know, it's the head of gold, which is the king. He was the king of Babylon. So that's the first rise of authority. Empire number 2 is Persia. The media, that's crazy. Social media do too much. Also, it's going to get shut down. Persia. After you, there will arise another kingdom interior to you. Media in Persia. Huh? That's crazy. Empire 3, Greece. You know, and then it says, then another third kingdom of bronze, which will rule over all the earth, the kingdom of Greece. So, but we don't understand though. And then it's the way that they have it. Like, it's so many different ways that they have it. It's like, Empire 2 is of the breasts and the arms. Period. Like, that's the one that I was looking at earlier. Empire 2 is of the breasts and the arms. Okay. And so now how they say the breastplate of righteousness and all that good stuff. Well, This is the breast and the arms, alright? And then Empire 3 is Greece. You know, and that's the kingdom of bronze, which is what is it, like the hips and the thighs. That's the way it's shown here. Let me show y'all the picture. No. There you go. The kingdom of bronze, which will rule over all of the earth, the kingdom of Greece. You know, Greece mythology, stuff like that, Greek mythology, it teaches you about Jesus Christ, right? About the Christian resurrection and things like that. But what if I told you that even then, back in the days of the Christian days, they worship pagan gods, and then they created these things as far as money, you know, liberty movement, and you know, peace. America is the only place that speak of peace, but does not show what they speak of, does not show what they stand for. What if I told you that we were living in those days? Would you believe me? You don't really have to. You could go pray to God and ask him yourself. He'll tell you. But what if I told you that? What if I told you that? Like, you know, what if I told you that? What if I told you that the things that I'm reading to you right now is already in effect? It says, Empire number 4. Then there will be a fourth kingdom as strong as iron. It will crush and break all these in pieces. Ancient Rome. Because, you know, Rome, nobody understands. Rome is of two. Rome is separated in two. Rome is a big place. Rome is big, but it's separated in two. And out of Rome are the 10 tribes. People gotta understand, though. Including me sometimes. So how it says, another kingdom of bronze, which will rule over all the earth, in the kingdom of Greece, but comes the fourth kingdom as strong as iron. It will crush and break all of these in pieces. So it divides the top half from the bottom half. Okay? Then that's when we start to talking about, look, it says in the book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 44, in the days of those kings, the gods of heaven will set up a kingdom which will never be destroyed, and that kingdom will not be left for another people. It will crush and put an end to all these kingdoms, and it will itself endure forever. Because there's 2 nations that are born under God. For the woman asks, if this is for surely your will and done by you, then why do I feel so much pain in my stomach? He tells her, for you are blessed, you are pregnant with 2 sons in your stomach, and they are born of 2 different nations, 2 great different nations, and shall be separated by the womb. I wonder, what do we teach ourselves and our kids? What do we learn? What do our parents learn? And their parents learn? And their parents learn? Like, what's going on? What are they putting out here? And it's like, well, if we are living in America, where it's the land of the free and peace and all those things, then there should be proof in life. It should be shown. What's shown in your, what's kept in your heart is really for surely what's shown in reality, though. And that does not matter if you're the governor or if you're just a regular person going around in the earth, you know. So it's crazy, because if they could just get us to believe that, what we're doing, the wrongdoings that we're doing is righteous, if they can get us to believe that, you know, we don't have to follow Christ's rules, and we don't have to do those things, you know, we don't have to follow God, and we don't have to, you know, if they can get us to be our own gods, if y'all getting me, if they can get us to think of our own, say God got control, yeah, but only in this field, or whatever the case is, it won't be hard. It won't be a problem to accept the physical mark of the beast. Because as I mentioned, we're already being judged. So as we're being judged, you know, it's off of what's in our hearts. So if you've been evil already, you know, then you know what's gonna resonate in your life. If you've been evil already, then pay attention. Judgment has been passed. The wicked is leaving. The wicked is being judged, but so is the righteous. The righteous are stepping into their places. Oh, it's so crazy. Oh, it's so crazy. They tried to mix lies and they tried to mix the truth with lies. Like, manipulated so much to where it's like now we have so many different religions. We have so many different people, so many different things around here, worshiping these guys. And it's like, we got all these different churches going on, and we got church here, different days, and it's like, are we not all worshiping the same God? And most of those religions that we're trying to worship were created of pagan. Like the sun god is not real. The Hindu god is not. Man, y'all gotta understand. Buddha is not a god. Like, y'all have to understand these things. Real life. And it's like, I get the argument that we all have. When we say like, well, if you're gonna say that, then how could you say Jesus is real? Things like that, because we already know that Satan knew Jesus was gonna come. He was gonna come through a virgin. We already know that Satan knew that Jesus was gonna come through, and it was gonna be the person that bruises the heel and bruises the head. We already know that it was gonna be the seed. We already knew that. So Satan's main thing, which he was given the ability to do, that's what these beasts, the explanation of these beasts mean. His main thing is, if I can pervert and condemn and manipulate and poke, the word, and if I could create these images, creating like Mary and creating, things like that. And not to mention, Nimrod is the one who built Babylonia. He's the one who was building up the towers. He was the one who was the mighty warrior. But Nimrod's wife was also his mother. So that was incest. On top of that, we have to remember what we're built around. The people who built Babylon along with Nimrod, God found out what they were doing, came down and changed their language and separated them, and they went away and created their own dominions, their own religions, their own nations, their own everything. That's the point of what I'm trying to say. So when Nimrod said, let us build up a tower to go up to touch the heavens, because it was like whatever God did, it wouldn't reach us, and we may even be able to conquer heaven. That was the point. God saw how wicked man was, and that they only grew wickeder, and that they were now being fruitful. So he went down there, he gave them different languages, and he sent them along their way. Where do y'all think these 10 tribes come from? Where do y'all think these things come from? So come after Nimrod. Nimrod ends up passing away, not like I already mentioned, and his wife was his mother. You know what I mean? And so his mother/wife made an alleged lie saying that Nimrod had passed away and became the sun god. They had a son, and then they said that the son was a descendant of Nimrod. Okay, so back to Nebuchadnezzar and how he had this dream about the statue, and then Nebuchadnezzar being the head of gold. Okay? So Babylon was never a blessed city. It was always a city of great wickedness. It was always of wickedness. It was never a city of blessings. Look at America. America was never built of a city of blessings. They wanted to have dominion over everything. They wanted to have power over everything. But the only way they could get the people to listen is if they put in the money and God we trust. If they put in God in this and God in that and God in that, And it's so crazy because in liberty, it says liberty here. And then now I can get y'all to understand. Now let me go back. For on the fourth beast, it mentions how a little horn plucked 3 horns. The same three type of horns like the 3 ribs in the bear's mouth on the second beast. And then y'all gotta understand that beast has the same authority from the third beast, which was like a leopard with 4 foul wings and 4 heads, giving dominion. All right, the horns are so signified power. You know, the heads are signified dominion. You gotta understand, the wings are signified power and dominion and authority. You know, so if it was a little horn on the head, and it plucked 3 other horns, and I just sat here and we just explained everything that's going on, and I'm telling y'all how America's built around money, and why the money's not gonna matter no more once we accept the physical mark of the beast, right? Because there are 3. Let me go up here. In the dream, in Ezekiel and Daniel, there are 3 tribes of Israel, right? Ha ha ha. Judah, Levi, and Reuben. 3 tribes of Israel. The 3 gates of Israel, the 3 cities of the tribes of Israel are Judah, Levi, and Reuben. Right? Okay. Here it says, for a little horn, which is the 4th. 4 heads, 4 dominions, 4 foul wings, which is the 4th. The horn had a mouth like a human, like the beast that stood up on 2 legs and had a man's heart, and had the 3 ribs in his mouth like a bear, these beasts that he named, right? Okay, so that little 4 horn plucked 3 horns, right? And I just named that there are the tribes of the cities of Israel. Out of the 10 tribes, there are 3 tribes of the city out of Israel: Judah, Levi, and Reuben. Message. Y'all have to understand. Now back from those, out of the 3 of the 10 tribes come from Rome, right? The separateness. So that's why we was on that picture so heavy. I need to close some of these tabs. Okay, so look, and now we get to the empire, the 5th empire, which is future Rome. So we already went to ancient Rome and the 4th empire, and we talked about how the 4th empire comes and basically conquers over the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd empire, right? And it knocks it, and it creates 2, which we get to the legs, right? So now we're at the legs. So we went past the gold, we went past the silver, you know, and now we're at the copper, the bronze, and the clay. So here we go. Empire 5 in this future Rome, right? So it says here, it would be a divided kingdom mixed with common clay. Some of the kingdom will be strong and a part of it will be brittle. And of this kingdom, 10 kings will arise. 10 kings will arise, right? And so we just sat here and explained how on the beast it had, let me go back to that beast. On the beast, all right, bye. I'm about to close you, because I know you sat here on purpose. So on the beast, it got 7 heads, right? And it got, I'm about to turn the camera around. On the beast, it got 7 heads, right? And it got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know, you see how many crowns, right? And then we go, and that's the beast. That's that beast that comes up. Let me go back. Let me close this up because... Y'all see all my research that I'll be doing. My bad. This is not supposed to happen. Y'all see the beast, right? This is the same exact beast that we speak of when he had the dream about the 3 beasts, right? All these tabs don't make no sense. So, y'all see that beast? Y'all see how we got y'all see how we got 7 horns and they got 7 heads, right? Now look at the Statue of Liberty. Look at the Statue of Liberty. Look at the horns. Look at the windows around the head. It's 24 to 25 windows around that head, right? Okay, 24 to 25 elders that sit on the throne, right? Okay. Come on. This doesn't make any sense. Look at the woman who sits on the beast. The woman that's prophesied, which is the whore of Babylon, who sits on the beast, right? I want to call her Liberty so bad. Why? Because of this. Look at this. Look at this. Pay attention to the horns. Pay attention. It's 7 of them that go around. Pay attention. I want to go to a better picture so that you can see her whole head. And it's funny to me how most of the pictures of the Statue of Liberty, they don't like to show, they want to show only a side of her or whatever. They don't want to show the whole image, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we get a better little image right here. She has something in her hand. She wants to be liberty so bad. So look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's another horn. It's another one right here on the side, but you can't see because her arm is covering it. And then it's the windows on her head. The head, like Babylon, is like gold, right? The head. But if we don't know any better, our head is like our tabernacle. Where we're receiving everything at our body, our bodies are temples, which means we have the tabernacle in us. First of all, let's just get that already straight, which means the holies of holies. Come on now. He's going to have me teaching all of this. So pay attention to these 25 windows that's here on this woman's head on the Statue of Liberty. And pay attention to the light bearer that she holds in her hand, above her head, and these horns that is on her head. Pay attention to the outfits that she's clothing in. Pay attention to the thing that is in her hand. Pay attention to the fact that she's in water. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to it. Because on here, look it. She has something in her hand right here. And then she also holds the light. And then she has the clothing. Pay attention. And what is that the beast is coming out of? Water. Ha ha ha. Pay attention. And then they label our money liberty. Pay attention. All right? So when it says that future Rome will be divided, it'll be divided into a kingdom mixed with common clay. Because look, like I said, there are two kingdoms. There are two nations, right? For one will actually rise and prevail in the Lord's name, and the other one will rise just to fall again. For surely fall and perish again. For there are two nations under God, and there is the beast of no nation, which is the beast of a nation. But it is the nation, the great nation that will fall. For in that hour of these kings, these 10 kings that will rise up and have this authority and this power that was promised to them by Satan will only last for an hour, and then it will fall. For there will be a kingdom. There will be soldiers that are raised up by the Lord that will go beyond the four walls. That will go beyond that will go beyond the division of the kingdom and the mixture of clay and of iron and of all of those things, because the bricks are weak, including the clay that is laid upon it. So it will fall. It will fall. It will fall. It will not prevail. It will not prevail in the Lord's name. Only the nation under God is what will prevail in his name. For if you have a nation that is built around everything but God and does not keep the Sabbath day and creates these certain laws that you used to have to wait years to pass, now you can pass them immediately, and they're causing you to stay up in your homes and shut you in your homes, and they're closing down the churches, and everything is just so illegal. This is what is understanding. Understand that we're going through the ending times. Understand that we're going through a time that is passed down of judgment. Understand that you do not have to physically receive the mark to already be marked. Understand that. Understand that what we are going through, we are guided in. We're in the place where a government, which is Caesar. Under Caesar's law, we're placed under this, away from a place and placed in a place where we don't know nothing, placed in a place and took away from what we really know, and we're placed in these prisons where we have to abide by these rules, abide by these laws, and they create up this false god, create up these false gods and these false judges, and we have to abide and we have to listen to them. No wonder we feel like we're not getting no answers back. No wonder we feel like we're not being answered. No wonder we feel like it's more corruptness. No wonder we feel like they don't got no justice when death is being passed down, and we got black people getting killed everywhere, and we feel like there's no justice. Well, that's because it was a law made, and if they make a law that is illegal to kill, then you're going to kill. Whether you believe in the course that it was made, whether you believe that it was outruled in the course that's guilty or unguilty, regardless, if there is a law made to do something, then that's what they're going to do. That's exactly what they're going to do. And then that's what they use. They say, well, in the Bible, it says that you are to be obedient to the laws. You are to be obedient to those and your judges and the government, right? But if the government itself is condemned and they use these things, and they use these things as a manipulation, and they use these things, and God we trust, and liberty movements, and they use these things, and it brainwashes us, and it makes us believe, well, God is this way, God is that way. It makes us believe that we are it, and we think we're worshiping and honoring Him, but really we're worshiping and honoring silver and gold and the things of Baal and the things of Nimrod and the things of what they were about. That's the whole point. And so it says, in those days the kingdom of heaven was set upon the king, which will never be destroyed, and that kingdom will not be left for another people. It will crush and put an end to all these kingdoms, and itself will endure forever. And it says, it will be a divided kingdom mixed with common clay. Some of the kingdom will be strong, and a part of it will be brittle. And out of this kingdom 10 kings will arise. And we be talking about when he come to separate the flock. And, we say, we don't get why we say he come to separate the flock. Neither do we get why we speak about the tares and the weeds. Neither do we get why we speak about the parable of the sower and the seed in the soil. We don't get those things. But it's because those parables are literally everyday things that we go through every day in America, because he wants us to understand, like Abraham. We're about to be placed in the wilderness, because where we are right now is not built of God. It's nothing but condemnation. And they know, it's like, how do you take someone's birthright? How do you take what's rightfully theirs? This is rightfully ours. This is right. These are our rights. We have rights to this. We have rights to these things. But if they come under our nose and snip it from under us, they come and manipulate us, and they poke us, and they poke us, and they poke things into it, then we don't know that these are our rights. We're now confused. So it'd be easy to accept it, especially if it's coming through as a deceitful thing, as if it's coming through like this. So you're thinking like, well, it's coming through religious, it's coming through like this, but no, it's not. It's not what you think it is. For you're not battling against these fleshly things and these blood things. No, you're battling against principalities that you cannot see. I got this message, y'all. I really did. So it's like, don't be looking for a church like you normally would see church. Church is not what you think it is. It's not in the building. So that's why you could go burn down the church building, but you cannot have church. It does not matter. You'll go out there, I promise you, go out there and start preaching and watch what happens. But you can go burn and get ruled out guilty. You can go, but you cannot buy from it. That's real life. You can go and you can protest and you can fight for your beliefs, but people can't say and speak freedom rights, or you're gonna get arrested for it. People cannot. But I thought you have the freedom of speech. Man, you got the freedom to do whatever, but you gotta understand nothing really is free. That's why I preach. That's why God had me preach. He has me preach. Whatever decision you make, whatever we do in our life, it has a consequence. Whether it's good or bad. Get ready for a death. Whether it's good or bad. Whatever you do or choose to do in your life comes with a consequence. So if I chose to go and do whatever, I'm not going to use myself, because I don't like talking about myself when it comes to this. I like talking about God. I don't like, no. A person, when you going through when you become a servant, before a leader, you know that you're selfless. It's not about the self. You're everything but selfish. You're selfless, which means you deny yourself and the things of yourself and of this world, and you repent of it, and you take up that cross and you follow him. So let's say we got like somebody named Penny. Her name's Penny, and Penny knows that she's not supposed to be watching things on TV that, promotes bad things. She knows she's not supposed to be, watching, let's say, like drama and things like that on TV. And so God tells Penny, turn your channel, turn off the TV, get more intact with me. But instead, Penny continues to watch that channel and everything that's on that channel, knowing that it's not what God likes, right? But Penny does not know what God for her. So because he was telling her to turn off that channel and to get more intact with him, is because he knew that channel can perceive in a way that makes you think it's okay to do things. It can give you will contract that energy. You will instinct in that energy, and so you will become what you are perceiving. Because when you look at something and you start to be around something a lot, and you start to do things like that person, you start to become that person. That's why you see couples after 5 years and you're like, oh my God, y'all look alike now, because they've been around each other for so long. They perceive